Okay, so Yan Diomande to Real Madrid is official, finalized, everything. Finally, this whole transfer saga is over. A lot of teams were fighting over this kid. Manchester City was in the race. Liverpool, I think, was in the race. PSG was in the race. He is the new young up and coming talent that every elite team wants, and he chose Real Madrid. Not a big surprise to me, to be honest. This video, I'm gonna go over some of the quirks of his playstyle, how he might fit into Real Madrid, what could be a big risk, everything. So, one thing you need to know about Diomande, he's really young, but like really, really young. Like, he's not a youngster who's like 22 and had a couple of seasons at mid to upper level class team under his belt or anything. He's like 19 years old. He's had one good season at RB Leipzig, and before that, he was at Leganes where he struggled to get some game time. I'm not familiar too much with his career at Leganes, but I'm more or less familiar with his RB Leipzig career. So when it comes to his strengths, there is a long list of them, and that could be expected for a player that's such a demanded talent amongst top tier clubs all over Europe. So one thing that everyone is losing their mind over is how good his dribbling is, and he's actually elite at that. And he's elite at that in a way that many modern wingers are not. So many other wingers, there could be a long list of players that fit under this category, are more of like speed merchants. Yeah, they have a relatively better successful dribble rate, for example, but it's usually in the open space where it's in over in the wide area when there is a lot of space to exploit. They kick the ball forward, they catch up to it, and they can like kind of outmuscle the fullback they are dueling with. With Diomande, that's not the case. So he can do that, but he's also really good in dribbling in very, very tight spaces. He's If you go over his dribbling highlights, and I know highlights are kind of skewing the reality because they only show the good parts, but if you take it with the context of his stats being actually good as well, you can see how he's very promising in that area because his dribbles are very precise. Even if he's surrounded by many defenders, or even if it's a very tight area that he has to dribble through, he can make very precise small dribbles, get the ball away from the defender but not too far away so he can still control it. He can escape the tight areas when multiple defenders try to squeeze him and swarm him. He can get out of that, which is a big deal for his upside. We've seen other young wingers who were not seen as so promising as Diomande. For example, Alejandro Garnacho is one of those who comes to mind. And with him, that's the issue. Like, yeah, he has highlights when he dribbles into a dangerous area, but it's usually because he outpaces the defenders. It's not like he has a deep bag of dribble moves. With Diomande, he has that. But he has that while not losing out on the pace part. He's very fast, he's very pacey, he has an explosive first step. So if you give him a lot of free area to run through, he can exploit that as well, and he can just make it hell for the defenders. So not only is he skillful and precise with his dribbling in tight areas, he is also very fast and able to exploit empty areas in a counter-attack setting, for example. On top of that, he's also physically on the stronger side while being tall. He's over 183, I think, which is that height and strength combined with his speed is great. Plus, add to that he's just 19, so he will only get stronger and gain better balance and everything. On top of that, he's still developing physically speaking, so it can only get better and better as long as he stays disciplined, of course. So yeah, this s- dribbling and carrying the ball forward and progressing up the pitch with a ball at his feet, that could be elite, and it is very close to elite already while he's 19. So just that already puts into perspective how promising he is as a youngster, and kind of does a lot of work for justifying the final price tag. What else is he good at? It's could be said that his finishing is looking very promising. I think we all remember when Vinicius Jr. first transferred to Real Madrid, and he was also a very skillful dribbler, but his first season, his finishing was horrible, and that's something he needed to work on. And for Diomande specifically, he doesn't have like a very high goal scoring season yet under his belt, but he has shown some promise. He had 12 goals in the last season, which for a winger is a decent amount. And what you need to look at is his performance versus his actual expected goals. He has almost doubled his XG, which can usually suggest that he is finishing better than most. He is whatever statistically would be expected to score, he doubled that, which means he can score from like tighter areas, from more positions that are not seen as super dangerous right away. So he has that, and when you look at his goals, you can see he scores in multiple of different ways. So he doesn't have long range goals under his belt yet, but you see him finishing with both feet, which is a big plus. You see him uh, in a tight one-on-one position, finishing well, or you see him scoring goals from not like far from the penalty box, but like on the penalty line. He's showing some promise there. It needs some polish. It needs some more training and development, but there is something there to be excited about, which is important. On top of that, he can also create chances. He can play very well with his both feet, like actual interchangeable, which comes in handy when dribbling, but also he could have like an amazing crossing game that can develop as well. So he's showing a lot of offensive upside basically. But then you go over to the conversation of okay, he's physically great, he's fast, he's skillful when dribbling, he can most likely develop into a very dangerous finisher who can play with both feet effortlessly and interchangeably. What is he weak at? And this comes in as a very debated topic. There could be many things that could be said there. Most of the time, it's not that he's weak at something, it's more like he just needs to develop at that. So maybe he could become better at pressing, but that's more of a work ethic thing. I think going to a team where he doesn't need to be relied on as much as a creator because there are other stars around him, he'll have way more energy conserved, which he can spend on pressing efforts. One big risk for me, personal, from my perspective, it's him developing his off-ball movement and off-ball productivity. So far, a lot of the strengths he has are being showcased when he has the ball at his feet. But let's be honest here, he's not gonna get the ball as much at Real Madrid as he did at his previous teams. So he needs to showcase that he can be effective without the ball at his feet. He can make effective, dangerous runs consistently multiple times a game. That he can mentally stay in the game while he doesn't get the ball, maybe for longer periods of time. He needs to work on that. I think that for me is the biggest question mark, how good he can be without the ball at his feet. uh, so that's what I would identify as the biggest risk so far. In addition to the fact that he's just so young, like he's 19, and Real Madrid is such a demanding team, and the fan base is so demanding, and they're so quickly to turn on a player when they start underperforming. He's gonna have a lot of pressure on him, and there's gonna be a lot of pressure on him to start developing right away, to start showing some promise. We already saw it with Endrick, for example. Like he just isn't getting the chances to get the experience, to get the game time, to develop more areas of his game. Like Real Madrid is one of those teams where you need to perform very fast if you want to keep a place in the first team, in the starting lineup. So that's another question mark at this age. Can he handle all this pressure and get enough uh, progression in the first few months, in the first half of the season, to justify his place at such an elite team in the starting lineup? Uh, there is also the Jose Mourinho aspect of this, which is that me personally, I've seen Jose Mourinho do amazing wonders when it comes to developing football players, helping them unlock areas of their game that no fan ever saw possible or imagined. Um, Experimenting with different positions and like different roles for a player to like let them develop into a more all-around player, or finding amazing offensive partnerships. The Harry Kane and Heung-min Son at Tottenham duo, that wasn't as active as when Jose Mourinho first came in, and he like developed this partnership through them, and we know how that went well. So there is this aspect of Jose Mourinho can help players develop a lot. There is, however, another aspect, which is Jose Mourinho is very no nonsense coach. He's not gonna keep giving game time to young players just so they can develop. He will expect productivity right away. So there is a big risk there, and it kind of depends on Diomande's performance. So we have to just wait and see. Uh, but like, let's address the elephant in the room, which is the price tag. He's the transfer is gonna be worth 120 million euros fixed, plus add-on package that can go up to 135 million. And that's a big price. However, from my perspective as just a fan, it doesn't sound crazy. It doesn't sound insane, because we've seen so many transfers go above 100 million already, and yeah, it's still a lot of money. It's still only money that like really top profitable or high revenue teams can afford, but it doesn't seem insane anymore when you put into context how like Sandro Tonali went for over 100 million, Morgan Rogers almost 120 million, and yes, those Tonali and Morgan Rogers, they have multiple good to great seasons under their belt. Their experience, they can contribute right away, and that's not something Diomande has shown yet. But Diomande is like 19 years old. He has the upside, and sometimes that's just how it is when it comes to very in demand young players. You have to pay extra for the upside. We've seen that happen so many times. And because he's like the premier young talent that all the prestigious teams wanted, there was a bidding war and the price went up. So it's still a lot of money, but because of all of this context, just doesn't seem insane to me. Like, yeah, the most in demand, uh, hot topic, elite young player with a lot of aspect or upside, sorry, went for over 100 million plus add-ons. Yeah, okay. In the modern football world and the modern transfer market we're seeing, it just doesn't sound insane to me. However, that's very subjective, so it's really up to you. Um, there are reasons for it. He's young, he has shown a lot of upside, he's already great to elite at many important aspects of the game. Yeah, but there is also the case against, which is, yeah, he's young, he's not very experienced, and he's only had one really good season so far, so it's very risky, but that's a risk you have to take when it comes to such players, that if you don't get him, someone else will, and that could be devastating. Like, that's a thing for Real Madrid. They're not getting Diomande just for themselves. They're also denying their biggest competitors in European tournaments like PSG, Manchester City, and so on and so forth. They're denying them the chance to get this youngster while getting him from themselves. So it's like a two-sided approach basically. And yeah, how he fits in Real Madrid, I think people are making a bigger deal out of this than it is. So as I said, Diomande can play with both feet. So I think he fits in very comfortably on either side of the pitch, on either wing, I mean, left or right. So I think he can find a place for himself that way. Vinicius could be leaving soon, and I believe if not this summer, next summer he's gone for sure. Might be wrong about that, but that's just how it's looking right now. So it will free up more space in the forward area for him to operate in. So I think he can squeeze himself into the offense. And yeah, let's just hope Jose Mourinho, as we know him, he likes counter-attacking football. So for a pacey winger like Diomande, that could just be an oasis. So at this point, let's just wait and see how it works out. But yeah, would be very will be I will be very excited to see how the new Real Madrid team will shape up next season because they made a lot of transfers. They could be very back.